Hey everyone, welcome to Integrated Medical Biochemistry with Dr. Bijoya.
Hello everyone. Today we'll talk about acute and chronic complications of alcohol metabolism part 2. So one standard alcoholic drink for any alcohol containing beverage is that which contains 14 grams of alcohol. Here are examples of some standard drinks or alcoholic beverages. That's 12 ounces of regular beer, 8.9 ounces of malt, 5 ounces of wine, and 1.5 ounces of distilled spirit all contain 14 grams of alcohol. Now, the healthy limits which the body can tolerate and metabolize without any toxic effects. For men, it is 4 standard drinks per day, that is less than 14 drinks per week, and for women, it is 3 standard drinks per day or less than 7 drinks per week. Alcoholic steatosis can occur in patients who have consumed 120 to 150 grams of alcohol per day for 2 to 3 weeks continuously. Let us have a brief overview of the alcoholic metabolic pathway. Now you can see here that it is very well compartmentalized. The major pathway occurs in the cytosol where ethanol is converted to acetaldehyde. This very step can take place in the microsome also. It is an inducible pathway and it depends on the concentration of alcohol. And it can also take place in the peroxisome. Now, the peroxisomal enzyme that catalyzes this conversion is catalase. The cytosolic enzyme is alcohol dehydrogenase, and the microsomal enzyme is CYP2E1. All the three enzymes convert ethanol to acetaldehyde, and the acetaldehyde is further metabolized in the mitochondria to give rise to acetate, which diffuses into the circulation and goes to different tissues and organs where it can undergo TCA cycle. Now, the major pathway releases two NADH molecules, whereas the alternative pathways bypass this first NADH producing step. So, there is less amount of NADH by the alternative pathways. So the summary of this slide is that ADH, CYP2E1 and catalase are the three enzymes that can generate acetaldehyde after alcohol ingestion. Cytochrome P450 uh, enzyme, one of the enzymes is CYP2E1. Now this enzyme catalyzes conversion of ethanol to acetaldehyde, and uh, this it does by uh, consuming one NADPH, and this acetaldehyde can now go into the mitochondria and be converted into acetate. So the first step uh, does not produce any NADH when CYP2E1 is the catalyzing enzyme. We would like to have a little more detail of CYP2E1, what exactly it is. It is CYP2E1 is an inducible enzyme which is induced by alcohol. It has high Km for ethanol and it generates acetaldehyde at a high level of ethanol concentration. So CYP2E1 plays a very important role in alcohol metabolism when blood concentration of alcohol is high. CYP2E1 is also induced in binge drinking, and it is a major contributor of oxidative stress in hepatocytes because it generates various reactive oxygen species such as hydrogen peroxide, hydroxyethyl radical, hydroxyl radical, and superoxide. Now let us look at the kinetic properties of alcohol dehydrogenase. So we will focus on the Asian allele, that is the ADH1B2, which is commonly found in the among the Asian population, which has low Km value. That means it easily converts ethanol to acetaldehyde. Now let us look at the Km value of aldehyde dehydrogenase. So aldehyde dehydrogenase enzyme also has three alleles, or it is three isoenzymes. So the class 2 of the ALDH is has a very low Km, and it is the most common form of enzyme that is expressed in the liver. Now, ALDH2 polymorphism variants in gene encoding LDH2 are important determinants for risk of alcohol abuse or dependence, especially in Asian population, because the Asian population commonly expresses ALDH2 504 Lis allele in common uh, to Asian population. Accumulation of acetaldehyde of concentration approximately 6 to 9 fold higher in those with heterozygotes or homozygotes for 504 allele than those with common allele. So this in subjects having this allele will have a very high accumulation of acetaldehyde, which is 6 to 19 fold higher. And this accumulation will produce various unpleasant symptoms, that is vasodilation, facial flushing, tachycardia, nausea, and vomiting, and it is commonly seen in Asians. Now, after seeing the enzyme activities and the pathway, let us look at the acute complications of alcohol. So, what are they? They are hypoglycemia, inhibition of fatty acid oxidation, ketogenesis, hyperlipidemia, inhibition of gluconeogenesis, lactic acidosis, hyperuricemia, and gout. So, all in all, we have um, seven major uh, seven major acute complications apart from the other. So, what is the biochemical basis of these complications of alcohol? So, let us begin. Now, ethanol is converted to acetaldehyde, it generates one NADH. Then, acetaldehyde is converted to acetate, it generates one more NADH. And all this is very quick, so there's quick generation of NADH, and therefore NADH to NAD ratio increases. So, to compensate for this, pyruvate no longer gets enters into the TCA cycle. So there is depletion of oxaloacetate and there can be fasting hypoglycemia. So this is the first effect. Then the second, now pyruvate gets converted to lactate to reduce the NADH to NAD ratio. And so there is increased lactic acid which leads to lactic acidosis. Now due to acidosis there is decreased pH, so there is hyperuricemia and gout. Now, this is a very important acute complication of in seen in alcoholics. Now the uh, fifth one is that the glycerol and the acetyl CoA, the glycerol from uh, glycolysis and acetyl CoA from the TCA pathway are now getting converted to fatty liver because both TCA and glycolysis are dysregulated. So fatty acids, so there will be fatty acid synthesis which will accumulate in the liver and cause fatty liver. Now the other fate of acetyl CoA is formation of ketone bodies. So after knowing the acute complications, I have a question to ask. So you need to explain why alcoholics are given intravenous thiamine before infusing fluids with glucose. So this is a clinical application. Now let us see the answer. So alcoholics, as you know, are given intravenous thiamine before infusion of fluids with glucose. This I just mentioned. Why is it so? Because there is thiamine deficiency due to alcoholism. Now, why alcoholism causes thiamine deficiency? There is reduced GI absorption, inadequate diet, hepatic damage, poor hepatic storage, increased diuresis, and increased metabolic demand. Uh, Now, why thiamine deficiency uh, yeah, is seen in alcoholics and what will be the effect? So, thiamine deficiency, I explained why it is seen. Now the effect is that since thymine is a cofactor for the glycolytic and TCA cycle enzymes, so these pathways are uh, already reduced. So if if thymine is infused, only then they can metabolize the glucose. So if the biotin is not given and directly glucose is infused, we will see the Wernicke's-Korsakoff psychosis. So what is Wernicke's-Korsakoff psychosis? Which is commonly seen in patients having vitamin B1 deficiency, which is commonly seen in alcoholics. So alcoholics have vitamin B1 deficiency, and vitamin B1 deficiency results in Wernicke-Korsakoff psychosis. So here is a mnemonic to remember. That is a simple mnemonic: COAT RAC. COAT stands for the Wernicke's encephalopathy, that is confusion, ophthalmoplegia, ataxia, and thymine deficiency, due to thymine deficiency. Now, Korsakoff psychosis is retrograde amnesia, anterograde amnesia, confabulation, and Korsakoff psychosis. Retrograde and anterograde amnesia is related to memory of the past and the present. What are the consequences of alcoholic consumption in chronic uh, phases? So, before that, let us look at the reference, that is in men, for more than 14 drinks per week is considered as chronic alcohol consumption, and in women, more than 7 drinks per week is considered as chronic alcohol consumption. Now, what is the definition of alcoholism? So, the American Medical Association defines it as a primary chronic disease with genetic, psychosocial, and environmental factors influencing its development and manifestation. Alcoholism is considered a mental disorder, and it is mentioned in the DSM manual also. The organs affected in chronic alcoholism is due to acetaldehyde, and acetaldehyde uh, leads to reduction in the antioxidants. It increases extracellular matrix proteins like fibronectin and collagen. So their increased synthesis will cause fibrosis, and increased pro-inflammatory cytokines will indicate inflammation. And because of all these effects, there's decrease in host defense and increase infection, which will affect the lungs. So there is alcoholic lung disease, which will uh, you will see acute respiratory distress syndrome, lung infection, and fibrosis of lungs. And in liver, we will see steatohepatitis, cirrhosis, and steatosis. So all this is because of the various inflammatory changes that will occur due to acetaldehyde. Now, what is the biochemical mechanism of chronic alcohol intake? So, the biochemical mechanism that occurs, now what is the causative molecule? It is the acetaldehyde. So, acetaldehyde actually has the ability to alter cellular function, and this depends on the enzyme activity and acetaldehyde accumulation. So we have already seen the various isoenzymes of acetaldehyde and the Asian uh, allele. So let us now look at the biochemical changes. So chronic alcohol intake will induce CYP2E1. CYP2E1, you know that it increases uh, reactive oxygen species. It will cause lipid peroxidation, and lipid peroxidation will cause DNA adducts. Similarly, aldehyde will also cause DNA mutations, and protein adducts will cause inflammation. Now, due to genetic polymorphism in different genes of these enzymes, there will be difference in the level to which all this is caused. There's one more molecule that will be affected, that is the beta carotene, whose conversion to its active form will be suppressed. So, since one of them is in retinoids is involved in regulation, gene regulation will be uh, disrupted. So all this, and apart from this, all this will also cause cirrhosis. So what exactly are ethanol adducts that are generated during ethanol metabolism? Here is a list of some of the adducts: MDA, HNE, MAA and HER, and they cause various effects like lipid peroxidation, and they form hybrid adducts with malondialdehyde, and they also cause oxidation in presence of iron. So these are the effects of these adducts. They combine with DNA and protein and alter their functions. Now, after seeing the chronic effects, let us look at another important question, that is alcohol a source of empty calories? So in order to answer this question, we have to know what exactly are empty calories. Now, empty calories is a term for those foods and beverages that are composed of sugar, fat, or alcohol, but they do not provide any essential nutrients on consumption. So you can see that 1 gram of ethanol provides about 7 kilocalories per gram, which is more than proteins and carbohydrates and almost equivalent to that of fat. But still it is known as a source of empty calories because this food supplies energy, but it supplies little or no vitamins, minerals, essential amino acids, essential fatty acids, or dietary fibers in them. So the question is answered here. Now, in continuation to the previous question, alcoholism and malnutrition. So alcoholic independent individuals have malnutrition, and uh, the effect may cause hypophosphatemia, thiamine deficiency, pyridoxal deficiency, niacin deficiency, folate deficiency, and vitamin A deficiency. We have already discussed in detail thiamine deficiency and vitamin A deficiency, where there is decreased conversion of beta carotene to its active forms. So now, after knowing the effects of alcohol consumption, one needs to know what are the options for such people so they can withdraw from these and uh, recover from their habit. But this has withdrawal symptoms, and the withdrawal symptoms onset is after the last drink. So the minor withdrawal symptom will occur within 6 to 30 hours, and it is tachycardia, hypertension, tremor, anxiety, headache, anorexia, insomnia. Uh, some patients may have seizures. It occurs within 6 to 48 hours, which is generally single or brief flurry of generalized tonic-clonic seizure. Uh, Alcoholic hallucinosis also is seen after 12 to 48 hours of uh, last drink. There is hallucination, normal orientation, and normal vital signs. Delirium tremens is also seen in, that is between 48 to 96 hours. Tachycardia, hypertension, delirium, agitation, fever, and diaphoresis. So all these symptoms are determined by the ALDH2. This enzyme, when inhibited by the drug disulfiram or metronidazole, this is the drug that is given as an antabuse. It inhibits this enzyme, so there is accumulation of acetaldehyde, and it is the acetaldehyde which will cause all these withdrawal symptoms. So What are the serum markers of alcoholism? Here are a list which are commonly used, that is gamma glutamyl transferase. Normal range for females is 31 units and for males it is 49 units per liter. Alanine aminotransferase and aspartate aminotransferases are not very good indicators of alcoholism. However, it is of common observation that AST rises much more than ALT in alcoholism. Now, AST to ALT ratio is a far more reliable parameter. The reference range is 1 or less, but in alcoholics it is 2 or more. The other parameter is MCV, and MCV is normal range is 80 to 96 femtoliter per cell, uh, and in alcoholics this is much higher. So, uh, although MCV is an indicator, a good indicator, but it has a disadvantage that due to 120 days RBC life, even after the patient has stopped drinking, the MCV values remain high or elevated for 3 months or more than 3 months. Now, carbohydrate deficient transferrin is the isoform of transferrin which is a deficient in sialic acid residue. Its normal range is 60 milligrams per liter. If it is found between 60 to 100, there is probability that the person is an alcoholic, and if it is 100 milligrams per liter or more, it is highly possible that the patient uh, is an alcoholic. Other tests, we can do blood alcohol concentration test within 24 hours of alcohol consumption. After that, it is of no use. Breath analyzers, these provide an immediate result and they correlate with the dose of alcohol. Urine alcohol is also an accurate indication of BAC at the time of urine production. Now, transdermal alcohol sensors are under development, or sweat patches, which show a huge promise as a means of prospectivity measuring alcohol intake. Now, at the end, I would like to bring out the high point that ethanol, though it has so many side effects, so many acute and chronic complications, ethanol has a therapeutic effect. And this therapeutic effect is on other two alcohols which may be consumed by people by accident, that is ethylene glycol and methanol. So the end products of ethylene glycol and methanol are far more harmful compared to that of ethanol. So if a person has uh, is poisoned with, is infused with ethyl, has taken in ethylene glycol or methanol, then a high dose of ethanol can save the patient from the side effects of ethylene glycol and methanol, because methanol and ethylene glycol compete with ethanol for binding with alcohol dehydrogenase. So large amount of ethanol, if it is infused, then methanol and ethylene glycol will compete and it will reduce the toxic effects of both these alcohols, and so in this way ethanol is a has a therapeutic effect.
So hope you liked what I presented before you. So for more videos, like, share, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell icon. Thank you. Have a nice day.